Hello and welcome to yet another cast. I'm back, finally. I have been ill, so I couldn't record for last week. I've had the bad virus whose name I can't mention on YouTube. Anyway, I'm back. For today I have a 3v3 played on the Team Matchmaker on Roxas Mapgen. Sorry if I'm a bit rusty, I haven't casted in 2 weeks now. So I hope you can excuse that. And let's get into plan inductions. We have Team 1 right here in the west, and Team 2 right here in the east, and that doesn't do anything because I'm not zoomed in far enough. And for the northernmost slot on Team 1, we have in the light purple Waffle Snoop, going UEF, opening first land. To the south of that, in blue, we have Shen, going Cypern, opening first air. To the south of that, in dark blue, going UAF and opening first land, we have Shudoka. That name sounds familiar, and I'm pretty sure I've done the same mistake already in a previous cast. Again, very sorry for that. Now for the eastern team. On the northernmost slot in orange, we have the Wheelie, also known as Farms if I remember correctly, but I am going to refer to him as the Wheelie. Going Aeon and opening first land. To the south of that, in red, we have Terrari, going Seraphim, opening first land. And to the south of that, in the burgundy red, we have Sleep Bright, going Cypern and also opening first land. So one different opening on this side with Shen going first air. And yes, that is actually it. Though both other players on the northern team are going for an air factory. The Wheelie already has an air factory, and there's also already an early bomber out from Shen that is hovering over the Wheelie space, getting a nice early bomber off to killing the unit that was building in the air factory. Denying that Inti, getting a transport as well, 2 kills to its name, with 135 mass killed. Continuing to hover around, probably to hover bomb. Killing off the fighter that the Wheelie was trying to build here. Moving on, trying to get the engineer, though there was an air dodge out from the Wheelie, denying that. Spinning back around, dropping again, killing the NT for another time. 1 rank of veterancy. Getting another hover bomb, killing off another engineer. And killing off DNT again. Is there any air response coming out? There is a mobile A coming out from Terrari. But this bomber is definitely being a pain in the ass for the Wheelie right now. Oh, okay, the Wheelie got now actually got a NT out. And with that, the bomber will go down. Nearly getting another kill on one of these engineers. But there goes down now. Right. Some things I want to point out as well is that I've received some feedback lately, and I'm trying to act on that. Basically, I've been told that I'm zooming too frantically and that it's a bit chaotic. Gonna try and reduce that. To mitigate that a bit, I also reduced my scrolling speed, you may have noticed that. The other thing is that I am going to try and stay focused on stuff a lot longer now. To reduce that as well, because, yeah. It's a bit... I definitely, looking back, see what they meant, and yes. It is definitely a problem. Now, what I haven't pointed out yet is the map actually. Bit of reclaims spread around, probably a lot of already reclaimed. Big pond through the middle, no actual land bridge. Though hover may be useful for the for Terrari and the Wheelie, since both get access to early hover. Though Shudoka and Waffle Snoop would technically also have access to the UAF hover tank, the the Riptide, yes. Now, thing about the map, it's a map share not quite 20k, so I think it's 15k. It's already pointed out, played on the team matchmaker. And something that happened here is that there are some mech marines that found their way down here somehow. They are moving south, trying to harass the stuff of Terrari, going after, now marching into Celan and Mobile AA. Celan of course won't do much against that because, well, while it does have higher DPS than most transports, it's still not quite the same as a proper lab. Next going down to that. And another max about to go down, I believe. Yep. And I think we might even see a third max going down to that. Well, looking at this up here, probably more like a fourth max. And yes, another max went down. Though these mech marines don't really have anywhere to run now with a fam coming in. That will probably just kill these. But they have already paid for themselves, so I don't think that is too important. In the meantime, heavy naval production already started up for Terrari, whatever, with 5 factories already out and a lot more queued. 2 factories also out for Sleeprite, who I just noticed is actually by far the lowest rated player in this game, with 1384. Next lowest being Shudaka at 1856. So massive rating difference there. Though I guess it's somewhat balanced out by the wheelie being very, very high rated. Now more mech marines up here in the north. Getting off some shots into these intis, I think. And more T1 bombers being used. Not surprising that that they are trying to focus down the wheelie, as he is the highest rated player in the game. And is also somewhat serving the purpose of balancing out Sleeprite. Now let's take another look at Navy. There are some submarines out from Sleeprite now engaging the naval production of Shudaka. Currently 4 naval factories. A 5th one was being constructed, but construction has been stopped. And there is currently nothing with top defenses in this area to deal with the submarines. And doesn't look like anything with torpedoes is being built either. Now, naval production also started up for Shen, with a single torpedo launcher to prevent a naval lock. One moment, please. Right. And 2 naval factories, 3rd one already going up. And more submarines coming in for Sleeprite, but now also a whole bunch of frigates up here coming in from Terrari, which will probably be very helpful in dealing with the stuff of Shudaka. Again, sorry if I mess up stuff a bit more. Still getting back into the whole streaming and casting thing after being ill. A torpedo launcher has been thrown up in order to defend, but the engineers building it have quickly been killed, or most of them, and with all of this damage output from all this navy, it's not too surprising that that did not hold out too long. Now a frigate actually having been constructed by a Sleeprite, probably also to help just with proper ground targeting, since while submarines technically do have a deck cannon, it is not very powerful, and you rarely see it used. At least I'm pretty sure they have deck cannons. That's not really a feature I use that often. or that becomes relevant very often. Now submarines out here for Shen as well. Maybe to try and deal with the fact that there is no major submarine presence up here in the north right now out from Terrari, the VLE or anyone else. Though there is now a submarine coming in from Sleep Right to help with that. And while that submarine is not targeted on that, it will definitely win the engagement because it got the first shots off. Though Shan has noticed that. Now back to this area up here. Thing I pointed out a bit earlier with the hover tanks of the UEF apparently is being utilized by Waffle Snoop, going for reptiles, the UEF hover tank, and just moving them over the water. While they may not be as strong as some other tanks of the UEF or the other UEF tank, the Pillar, it is very good at raiding and has, due to its high mobility as a hover tank, and of course as a hover tank is able to actually cross water, unlike the alternatives. But in order to deal with that, the wheelie has started getting up Spectres, and thus must have achieved T2. Yes, there is T2 air. And there are currently also Swift runs being produced, as I assume to gain air control, as there's a major air presence currently out from Office Snoop. I think those are Swift runs, but pretty sure those aren't inties, so yes, those are. Okay. I don't know my symbols very well, especially for Aeon, so I always want to excuse for mistakes, but apparently I was correct. Now T2 Navy has been started up for Terrari, or well, not really started up, but already finished. Some T2 Energy is also out building T2 Power, though those are at risk of being attacked from reptiles that are now coming in from the north, again, or from Waffle Snoop. Also somewhat threatening the main base of Terrari. Looking to the south of that, there is some sort of T2 out for Sleep Right. T2 land, okay. A bit questionable because land on naval primary slots and maps isn't really that useful, especially for the Cyberin that don't get hover tanks. But I guess with the land presence up here to the north, it is somewhat worth it. A cruiser has been finished for Terrari now. That may be a very painful experience for the western team. Shen now being fired upon by these frigates. And down into the yellow. At now below 3k HP. Into the red. 2.5k HP. If Shen isn't careful, they might actually die. Down to below 1.5k, but they managed to run away and survive. By the looks of it, currently no T2 out for Shen. Nope. There, of course, has to be T2 out for Waffle Snoop, as the Riptide is a T2 unit, and of course there is, with quite a bit of production behind that, but only on land right now. And for Judoka, we have T2 air out, currently not doing anything, but there is also a T2 energy right here, so T2 build power is on the field. The mass riptides out from Waffle Snoop now being utilized very effectively in dealing with Terrari's naval production. Taking that out may allow a return into the naval game for the western team, as they have been forced out by their opponents. However, these Riptides will most likely not be very effective in the objective of taking out the naval production, as there is... never mind, those Spectres are actually... that Spectre's actually moving back. And Navy is going down, but a destroyer has been finished. And the Seraphim destroyer is very effective in dealing with hover due to its beam weaponry, as that allows a quick spread between targets and a minimal amount of overkill. And also somewhat alleviates the issue of fire rate, as it is a constant beam that just pours in damage over a burst. Terrari also bringing in his commander to help defend against that as well. And now the Spectres for the Wheelie are actually coming in to help defend. Now let's see, is there anything like T3 currently going up for anyone? Not from the Wheelie as of right now. Also not from Terrari. Not for Sleep Bright, I believe. Yeah. Let's get back to that a bit later, because apparently there is now a land invasion out from Judoka, with engineers and reptiles moving over, but the engineers are also starting up land production, getting some, currently just building some labs, but maybe getting to some other stuff later. But even with that, especially these reptiles will most likely cause some heavy problems later on, as they will still be rather effective in dealing with those rhinos, especially due to their higher numbers. Though they have to be brought in range, as the Riptide does have a lower range than the Rhino. North currently seems to have stabilized, but Judoka making establishing a proper beachhead on the south. Even building some flag right here, and with the 200 commander, I suspect also very soon starting to get some proper defenses to get this area locked down. Some T1 PD out from Judoka trying to defend up here. Again, I'm not too sure about the effectiveness of that in dealing with reptiles, as those will be able to pour in quite a lot of damage with their Gatling guns. Really thought that reptiles... never mind, they actually do deal quite a bit of damage. They just need a bit larger numbers, but... reptiles are comparatively cheap to other primarily land units, so... it's... they can be spammed up rather easily. Now let's get back to my search for T3. Currently, by looks of it, no T3 going up for Judoka. Yep. Currently no attacking for Shen. They are still at T1. And T3 air has been achieved by Waffle Snoop. That will be rather dangerous. Now Shen moved into the water with a stealth and torpedo ACU. And that will be safe as long as it doesn't actually get into the visual range of something that is actually in the water. I believe that other engineers don't actually get underwater vision due to not technically being in the water. But those also just can't be attacked by the ACU as, well, it's hover. Hover doesn't take damage from torpedoes, though alternatively it can just be reclaimed. But apparently I was mistaken on the whole vision thing, as Terrari is trying to get up some top launchers to deal with that ACU. So he must be aware that there is an ACU, I guess. However, the ACU of Shen is able to prevent that just with the torpedo upgrade. Though Shan still needs to be very careful as there are destroyers around. The cruiser's getting a lot of value, this one at 10k mass killed. And 3 ranks of veterancy, that is quite a lot. This one only at around half of that, but still very, very much worth their mass. Definitely paying for themselves. Now, with the T3 having been achieved by Waffle Snoop, there is also T3 now out from the wheelie. Though I believe that may not be as far ahead, that may be behind Waffle Snoop, and I am correct in that assumption. However, that is not as bad as the wheelie does have access and also has used the Swift Winds for air superiority, preventing the issue of strat bombers that you may have when you're behind on your T3 air, as Swift Winds are actually able to somewhat effectively intercept strat bombers. Not quite as effective as ASF, but good enough to not be too big of an issue. Now the build power building the top launchers has increased and is now targeting down the ACU of Shen, which is now taking somewhat large amounts of damage. 2 destroyers also moving in, and with that I am pretty sure the ACU is under major threat. Yes, the ACU is taking heavy damage. It is down into the yellow. Down below 10k HP. Now, actually, yes. And below 8k. And below 7k. It's going down rather quickly. There are not some renegades out for Shen, so they must have achieved T2 air. There are also torp bombers, so I must have missed them having T2 air, and yes, they have it right here in the back. The ACU does pull back and manages to regenerate. Not actually dying, but that was still a major risk. Now, there is T2 Navy out for Sleep Pride. And I had to check for that because there is a Salem right here on the shore. Not on the water, but walking on land, as Salems do. The sneaky Cypher. With their sneaky shenanigans. And, well, that tends to make these guys a bit more annoying to deal with, as normal air responses with torp bombers are no longer effective, and gunships and normal bombers are required to actually deal with them. As well as the fact that since it's not missiles and it does outrange T2 PD, bus kills and any form of TMD is not actually effective in defending against it. Because that shit only works against missiles. There apparently were some gunships out from the wheelie that I missed down here, and yes, can definitely see the damage they have done. Since I am focusing on stuff for a bit longer now, I'm still trying to find a bit of a balance of still figuring out what's going on the rest of the map. Also, good thing to point out for me, or good point for me to point out, I have a mini-map that at least will give you some idea of what's going on when I'm not paying attention to shit. But anyway, since I'm currently still trying to find a middle ground of paying attention for longer on one thing going on and not jumping around too erratically, I hope you can excuse me missing stuff for the next few casts. Since trying to adjust the way I'm doing stuff is still... I will have to adapt to that stuff and learn how to do it properly. It will probably get better in future casts. I will promise that. I won't, though I won't say how many casts it will take until it gets better. But in the meantime, these cruisers continuing to now to bombard this area of Shen, and the ACU of Shen going down to a combination of missiles and torpedoes at 24 minutes. Western team with that one player down, and with Shen was also damage rated player actually. Now with a Snoop, in an attempt to help defend against that, is bringing in T1 bombers. Though those will be of questionable effectiveness facing off against these Seraphim cruisers, as the Seraphim cruisers do have access to a very effective set of flag guns. I believe it's these guns right here on that side. Maybe I should try and track units, but that's always such a hassle, so probably not here. But on these two sides, these flag guns tend to be rather effective, especially against T1 and T2 air. Not so much against T3 air, because flag generally struggles against T3 air due to its high speed. Though, for example, when there's an airfight overhead, it's still going to be effective because you just saturate the area with flag explosions, and since airfights are generally restricted to an area, that does actually work. The base, but getting back to the game actually, the base that once belonged to Shen is now directly taking fire from these cruisers, the T2 air factory going down, and due to it being cruiser fire, also the wreck of it going down. Cruisers very effective in overkilling stuff because the projectiles are so slow that by the time the unit actually dies, there are enough projectiles already around to just take out the reclaim as well. So cruisers generally not leaving a lot of reclaim. In the meantime, Waffle Snoop going for broadswords, the mighty UEF gunships, and also having collected a sizable ASF force. Let's do an ASF count. We have... that is 25 ASF out for the wheelie, against 60 for Waffle Snoop. So a very, very big difference. Meantime, a whole lot of stingers out for Judica. They are currently still at T2 air, now also building top bombers. Trying to deal with the Cypern stuff. There is also land invasion that has been started by Sleeprite, though there is no actual land production out. There's factory queued up, but with these gunships around, I don't think that will last for too long. Bunch of frigates going down to these gunships. And the top bombers taking out the submarines. Or the submarine, which is actually firing upon these gunships that have landed on the water. Then actually now that those could be hit with torpedoes. I thought those actually hovered over the ground and thus were immune to that shit. There is apparently some T2 naval production now out for the wheelie, yes. Building cruisers and destroyers. Not sure, I think it's mostly cruisers due to the air situation, I suppose. Yeah. 15, I think this is 15 cruisers to 1 destroyer. So very heavy focus on the whole cruiser thing. And Waffle Snoop moving in, trying to start the broken air engagement. That would probably go in their favor, though there's also a small restorable out from the wheelie. Restorers very effective at dealing with ASF due to their good anti-air missiles. Though being AA gunships and all that. though struggling somewhat against the broadsword due to the high HP pool of that and the very high DPS of the broadsword main weapon, which can be used against other gunships, since gunships can actually use their main weapon against other gunships. Something that a lot of players actually tend to forget, I think. And that's also not really talked about a lot. But still, the airfight did actually go in favor of the wheelie. Sorry that I didn't zoom in on that too much and focus on the gunships instead. And with the Snoop going down, okay, it says Control K, I'm just gonna trust that. Yeah, I don't think there was anything around that that could have AoE killed that with its death weapon, so yeah. With the Snoop Control K leaving the entire game in the hand of Shudaka, the lowest rated player of the Western team. Though in the meantime, funnily enough, this cliff being a more effective defense against these missiles than the Sparskills. Because these cruisers are trying to hit something right below the cliff, I guess. And thus, due to the way the missiles arc, can't actually hit. Which is always funny. And there goes the Control K out from Jodica. And with that, the game has been won by the Eastern team. I hope you enjoyed this cast. It was streamed live on Twitch, link to that will be, as always, in the description. If you enjoyed this, I don't know, like, if you want. No one's forcing you. But yeah, you can also subscribe. I'm putting out a lot more of these casts. I'm actually back to recording them now, since I'm no longer ill. And yeah. Anyway, hope you enjoyed, hope to see you again in a future cast, and till then, bye!